Okay, hello there, fans of YouTube, Go Pretend people. I'm Sita Mangaka here, today doing a very brief VOD analysis review. I have a guest with me today. TK is with me
Hello.
today. I've been working with him on a couple other things, Go Pretend, when I used to run the article panel. He was a guest on it once, maybe twice. if I
Twice,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
twice,
the
that's right.
first return guest.
Yeah, you're the first return, first and only. As of right now, just, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of stuff on Go Pretend that's... Or I haven't looked at a lot of Go Pretend stuff, to put it
Yeah.
more
I
accurately.
haven't had time to be writing in them
Yeah,
lately.
same here. I'm really tempted to cut back on hours on my job as I look for a new full-time job. Anyway, so this is going to be looking at the TSM versus EDG game. The reason that we're looking at this game, okay, isn't necessarily like, oh, it was a really close and exciting game, much like the Fnatic versus SKT one, but rather more like TSM seems to have a chronic issue at this tournament that I want to kind of dive into. I'm going to be working on a piece on TSM's performance at MSI, and I want to get a secondary perspective on some of the things that could have changed, because TSM seemed to have the same issues occur, which they didn't have before they came into MSI, okay? And we want to look into this and kind of see why they are getting crushed so just badly within these games. And TK has his own thoughts on that, which I'm interested to hear from him. So without further ado, okay, you're at the page. Is the video live for you, like, right now?
Yeah.
Moving? Okay. So we're using screen sync to share the VOD view. We're just in a little room. So it starts off, and immediately a trend that we see here in almost every game TSM's played at MSI is a lot of top lane bans from both sides. I feel like at this tournament, TSM has really been screwing over Dyrus in two ways. First off, they're doing the standard, we're going to leave Dyrus alone, he's probably going to get dove, that's fine, we're going to just pool our resources elsewhere, which they didn't do effectively. But then they did that to him while also putting him on carry top lane champions. They put him on Gnar against Fnatic, they put him on Hecarim, I think twice at this tournament, and that's not a good thing that you want to do, because if you're going to put Dyrus in a role on a champion which he's supposed to be dealing damage, supposed to be carrying, you don't just leave him to die like that.
Yeah, I also don't agree. Like, I know you're talking about the over the tournament, but this champion select
Right.
plays out super weird.
Yeah.
Before this game even started, I specifically said to a friend, it's more important to ban out Kalista and Rek'Sai because Deft and Clearlove have been so good this tournament
Yes.
than it is to set up Dyrus.
Right.
And I also said specifically that Mundo is an underrated champion right now that makes more sense for how TSM likes to play with Dyrus, and he can run Smite so he can clear the jungle.
Right.
And I still think that was a better pick than the Scion. And EDG just like winds up taking it.
Yeah, so
Um,
no, Mundo
I
is kind of skirted over right now. I think he's still a very good pick. I kind of half and half on him with Smite, just because if you don't have Flash, then you have a very easily ganked lane, and you can get that Mundo way behind, and that's dangerous against like a snowballing champion like Hecarim. But with most tank jungler, or junglers I should say, favoring like passive tank junglers in the early game, kind of like Sejuani, I'm going to exclude Gragas because you can make early plays with Gragas, or Nunu, then he can kind of get away pretty much free in lane. So TSM first picks Urgot. I think that's okay. EDG does play the Kalista. You could have denied him that. I don't know if he did. Yeah, this is where my team knowledge is really hard to be.
Again, I think you just ban it.
Yeah, I would agree
Turtle
with
hasn't
that.
been great on it. Like, I also don't think Urgot was a very good first pick here. It does it like Deft plays it. I don't think it's anywhere near what they like putting Deft on.
Right, yeah, it's kind of like a secondary option for them. Okay, yeah, like, I'm just trying to think. I think in my mind the Kalista has a hard time laning against the Urgot, though I could be wrong about that.
Kalista does have a hard time into
Right,
Urgot,
okay.
but Turtle doesn't really play the Urgot.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
Yeah,
mainly
so
always on Bjergsen. So you kind of are, if you're scouting well from EDG, which Aaron historically has done well, then you know you're almost 100% positive that you don't have to worry about that lane matchup.
right, yeah, so then in this case, the team solo mid, first picking the Urgot, which is mainly going to Bjergsen, is fairly bad just because EDG already knows, okay, that's a mid Urgot, assuming they did the scouting, which Aaron has historically been known for, as you just mentioned. So they can just freely pick Kalista here, and then TSM grabs Corki for Turtle. Looks like he's just going back to a comfort pick, which I'm actually surprised they didn't grab, like, a Sivir here.
Yeah,
I think worked.
I hadn't realized that was still up because it's usually taken away from them.
Yeah, no, I think it's weird that they ignore Sivir in this case. I think TSM
I think
is just...
the thought process was like this Corky worked out so well for us in the NA playoffs. We got to just go for it.
Something like that.
This is the most similar to what they were running.
Yeah, it's like they're defaulting to that, actually. They're getting Dyrus onto like just a reliable tank champion, so you're not putting him in a damage role like you have before when you place him on Gnar, when you place him on Hecarim, so they're kind of trying to send him back to more what we usually see TSM play with Dyrus. Meanwhile, EDG, let's see, what do they grab in this one? I know they grab the Thresh to take away from Lustboy. He's been very good at that, and then they pick up Mundo.
Yeah.
So, like you just mentioned, and because, let's see, they're up against a Sion on top, so they're free to just take Smite on the Mundo, just have free trades over there. And by taking the Thresh away as well, you're giving this Mundo extra safety, because, let's see, what does Lustboy have after Thresh? It basically Janna, Lulu,
Nautilus.
And Nautilus. Yeah, okay, so Nautilus would be kind of... No, actually, you could sit in the minion wave. It's a little harder for Nautilus to start fights than Thresh, just because of the range of the spells on Thresh, namely the Flay, versus Nautilus having to walk up, get the auto attack on, and Mundo just being able to slow you.
Yeah, I think, like, in terms of when they picked up champions, TSM played this champion select really bad. You know that they love running Thresh Kalista, because that's probably one of the best bot lanes in the game right now.
I agree.
So they could have... There was no reason to pick the Corki there. There was zero risk of that being taken away. I think you just take the Thresh there. And if you don't want Thresh, take, like, Nautilus or something else that can at least sort of deal with the Thresh. Take Morgana.
Right, Morgana would have been
right there.
Pretty good, yeah. And then they lock in Sejuani.
Yeah,
they lock in Sejuani a little later. I think that in this case, because you do see the Mundo, I would have gone for Gragas, in all honesty, for the early game pressure. But if Santorin's play this particular tournament has also been kind of meh. He's kind of been...
Wait, Santorin's been playing this tournament?
There you go, right? No, there was a Twitter joke, okay, I'll share this one with you, where it may be Clear Love 4-0-4, but Santorin is a jungler that's not found. That was a really good burn in this game. It was a really good burn. Anyway, so Lustboy then picks in the Bard, and now we actually had a quick discussion over Twitter, and that's what spawned TK and I coming in to talk about this. TK, my boy here, he has a little bit of like faith in Bard. He's not like hyping him up like Crepo does. Crepo was just like, oh yeah, it's Bard, it's gonna be great. I'm like, Crepo, shut the fuck up.
On 5.8, I think Bard is a legit champion.
Let's see.
I have like, I can't share where I'm getting some of this information, like other than like streams and stuff. I have a couple other sources.
Okay.
But I think like a lot of people are gonna like start looking at Bard as a legit champion in 5.8.
Okay.
Some of the buffs he got to his Q are really useful, and they fixed some of the problems.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of irrelevant because Lustboy plays it horribly.
First off, second off, it's on 5. This whole patch, by the way, is on 5.7. So this is before. Let's see, what happened in 5.7 that was a big deal. Blade the Rune King buff, that didn't occur yet, and so that makes Bang's play on Lucian in that SKT game just that much more impressive to me. Bard hasn't been buffed as well. There wasn't any changes to Cinderhulk just yet. I'm trying to think of other things that were changed to 5.8. But either way, there's some other things which happened there.
Yeah,
so
I can't.
I feel like in this, Lustboy to me locking Bard within this context though just screams to me that TSM is kind of defaulting to what just playing for the fans at this point. Like it's just been, it's a shit tournament. This is like EDG. They played really well today. We've been just like asked this whole tournament. There's no chance of this. You know what? Let's just go for the swag pick. And not to say that I don't think TSM like didn't try hard, like purposely through this game. I think that they did play to agree, but I think that they're like, look at what else is available for Lustboy in this situation, okay? And look what they're up against, okay? Like a Janna in this case against a Rek'Sai, Mundo, Kalista. That would be a really great pick. That would be really nice disengage to get all those champions off your backline. Lustboy's played that before. Lulu is just one of his signature champions. Okay, that's blocked away from him actually, so scratch that point. But there's other things that Lustboy could code to that are better than Bard in this patch, and him locking that in just screams to me that they're like, again, like TSM is just like in a mentality gutter, I guess I could call it like that, to kind of play to like the Western casting philosophy of like, like the attitudes and the mindset of the team, which does play a minor role in the game. But ultimately, like my issues with Bard, and like I'll be upfront, my bias in this, I don't see Bard succeed like at all, and this mainly comes from me not looking at the streams or like looking at his win rates, things like that. And I do think that, okay, if you buff him to a point, yeah, he's going to be like viable, but I look at like opportunity costs in the support position. I think that they're just supports that give more than Bard does. Like, to me, the one thing that would cement Bard as a really good pick is if his magical journaling only worked for his team, which would be like broken as fuck. But I personally feel like you have to take him to that level of utility. and give his team that much free disengage in order to make him like a really standout pick, because you can whiff his ultimate fairly well. He doesn't pack in as much CC as some of the other supports do. His healing packs, I'm not sure how strong they actually are in team fights. You know, again, like he doesn't have as much.
The movement speed boost is more valuable than
the movement speed boost. Okay, yeah, I forget that it has that in there. Yeah, so I just don't really see Bard like being played to like a really high level or really used effectively, but that's me personally. Maybe I'll be wrong with that. On 5.7, I think it stands. Maybe 5.8 onwards, it could change.
Can I explain why I disagree with?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
As a concept being bad. Okay.
Go for it.
So I agree. In in solo queue, he may be the worst champion in the entire game.
Right. Yeah.
His laning is one of the worst laning phases in the entire game for any champion.
Right.
And that's usually what sets Bard behind. Like, it doesn't allow him to do anything. But in competitive, if you can get a lane swap and you have an AD carry who can 1v1 the enemy top laner like efficiently and safely, Bard's roams early game can be super high impact. Before people start having ultimates and before they start grouping, you can get off really good ganks with your Q if you have good magical journeys and you have good vision control.
Right, yeah, so Bard's strength really comes from by roaming in with the jungler, getting a unique angle with the gank with magical journey, and getting these roaming kills. Okay, that's where Bard's strength is. I can see that. I think Nautilus does it almost as well. Not as, like, I don't want to use the word flashy because that implies it just looks cool, but it's not really, like, sound. Unique or diverse, I suppose. You know, like a really heavy CC support like that. So I see where you're coming from with that, and so with that playstyle in mind, Team Solo Mid does not use Bard well.
Yeah, no, they use it horribly.
Yeah, so we have to keep that caveat in there, and a lot of blame can be like, you know, people have been bagging on Santorin, and Ryan, the site director for Gold Pretend, has kind of been sort of coming to his defense and saying, guys, it's like a whole TSM team issue thing, which he's right about that. TSM as a unit looks like shit. It's not like one individual player. Wild Turd is being outclassed. Lust Boys looked, let's see. Okay, someone tweeted that he looks like he's the only one who's not completely outclassed. I got to look closer at Lust Boy's play, minus his Bard game. Bjergsen hasn't been like making these huge high-impact plays, which I have to laugh because people were really hyped for like Bjergsen Faker. They're thinking, oh, it's going to be LeBlanc versus Zed. They get fucking Cassiopeia versus Ziggs.
I actually put more blame on Bjergsen than anyone.
That's probably fair.
Like, he's the primary shot caller of TSM.
No, I think they moved away from that.
What? Did they move away from that?
I think they moved away from that at the start of the split. That's why Bjergsen became the beast again. Like, they moved that away from, like, Santorin came back in. You know,
makes sense.
Yeah, I think he has less shot calling responsibility on him.
Okay, then retract what I just said.
Yeah, I think so. That's what that's like my knowledge right now. That's why Bjergsen's plays
that he was still playing that they were still playing like that. And then my thought process was, oh, okay, if he's shot calling, then maybe half of the problem is that he's thinking like, oh, I'm being hyped up. I gotta try to win lane against all these guys. Like, I gotta just stomp them in lane, and I gotta focus on that and not worrying about what's going on around the map. But if he's not shot calling, then that point is mute. So.
Yeah, so I think that's the case there. I can ask around. Like, somebody would definitely know. That's, like, my knowledge, though. Like, when they brought in Santorin, I think he picked up some of it. Maybe Dyers is making no Dyers.
If Santorin is the shot caller, then there's legitimate reasons to be blaming him.
Yeah, maybe like, Lust Boy to a degree. Like, his English is well enough. I have to recall. I know that Bjergsen has less shot calling responsibility on him.
That's good.
I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so we're getting into game. I can jump ahead.
It's pretty standard early.
Yeah, it's fairly standard. Let's see.
Like, okay, so can we talk about this lane swap? Because like a lot of people are coming to Dyrus's defense, and ignoring the problems that he has here, and I don't think that's fair to the rest of his team.
Right.
Like I'm not saying that his team is blameless because as a team, they all misplay this horribly.
Right.
But Dyrus is not
contributes to it
here. Yeah.
Right.
So you see, he starts with this ward. I forget if he places this one early or not. I guess we'll find out in a minute. But already he's really far up in the lane and he doesn't know where Thresh and Rek'Sai are. And that ward's not going down anywhere. He over-prioritizes the CS a lot. Whereas normally in a lane swap you don't worry as much about that and you worry more about just getting the EXP.
Right, yeah.
And staying in EXP range and staying safe.
Anyways, I feel sorry for Matt. He's kind of like, you know, if this was, you know, You know, like everyone's like getting on like the WoW TSM's garbage train right now because of how
Yeah.
bad they lose the best of ones. Be like, we're talking about like best of ones here. You know, if this is like Korea, everybody's screaming small sample sizes. I had a tweet of them. We're talking about 5 best of ones right now. That's basically 2 best of 3s.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. If it was one game like the Fnatic,
Yeah,
Fnatic
you know.
game, I was like, this is just one game. But if they're making the exact same mistakes in every game, which they pretty much
Yeah.
have been, then you can't.
Yeah.
That point is not as valid in my opinion. So yeah, Dyrus still has that ward. There's been
Okay.
no reason for him not to place it.
Right. Okay. I should look.
He also still has his trinket up. This was absolutely a gank that he could have defended against, that he just did nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So this is where you're looking at. Okay. So he used the trinket. It's down, but it's gonna be back up by the time it's there.
Oh, I might be pretty far ahead of you.
Well, yeah.
I'm at 3:55 game time.
How are you there if you're?
I have no idea.
Why are we not in sync? Like, what the fook?
What game time are you at?
I'm at 133. Okay.
Oh, then I'm.
I paused for a bit. You know.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. It should be synchronized. You and I should be looking at the same video, and I think I should have control over it. Unless, like, yeah. Let's see. What's the time on the VOD? Oh, it's hard to call because it's like a live thing.
I'm at. My thing's jumping. Crap.
Here, I'm paused. I'm paused. You paused?
Yeah, I'm paused.
Okay. What time are you at?
It says 4:04 now.
Jesus. Okay. Go back. Go back. Apparently it didn't pause for you.
Here, I'm just gonna refresh. and
All right.
see
Yeah,
if
you
it
do that.
gets back up. Sorry about that. Okay. Join.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So no, it's not a good day to be Matt. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And you know, I don't mean to be sitting here kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, no, like, I went into this wanting TSM to do well. I'm
Yeah,
not,
no,
I'm not
I'm
like a TSM fan, but I
a
wanted
hater.
them to succeed.
Yeah, no, I was, you know, anticipating that they would do well. You know, I was hoping for some close ones, but for them to get bodied like this by several different teams, again, I do, like, I've made my statement before. I think TSM is just overly reliant on a best of series rather than just needing that to adapt over the course of a game in order to do well. That it hurts them in the group stages. So that's my thought. What time are you at now?
Alright, hold on. It put me to where it is live, so I'm just gonna find the timestamp that you're at, and then...
Yeah, okay. I'm
play
like
it
back
from
an
there.
hour, 5 minutes. I'm paused at 1 minute 35 game time.
Alright, I'm at 1:08 game time. Let me
Okay,
just-
so yeah, you play it. I'll just let you catch up. Man,
Alright.
my Twitter's being a buzz right now, and I can't respond in kind because I'm trying to watch this shit.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll get back to my point about Dyrus.
Yeah,
Not
make it.
dealing
Yeah,
with
so
that
you made
dive
a.
well later.
Yeah. So he doesn't get a award out for it. Let me know when you.
In general, like, TSM's vision control has been horrible this tournament, too.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Like, in my opinion, Sejuani should almost always build Sightstone.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's really efficient. I haven't seen that from Santorin at all. I haven't seen anyone, like, going out of their way to ward. It's
Alright.
just been really off.
Mm-hmm. I've activated Matt. I think he's going ham on me right now, and I'm not looking yet because I want to do this. Let me know when you hit 135.
Oh, I hit it.
Okay, play. Okay, I'm at 136, 137. We good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll just let it play. I won't even mess with pausing because apparently you don't look at the same feed that I have control over, or something. So. Okay, so. Yeah, so EDG doesn't call the lane swap. They just go
Yeah.
to bottom lane, which I think
That's fine.
that's okay. Like they'll do fine in a lane swap. You know, either they're thinking, okay, we don't really need to lane against the Corki Bard, even though I think the Callista Thresh would crush that lane early, just because Callista does really
Yeah.
well against Bard. But I think they're like, oh, we can just just slaughter Dyrus like everyone's
Yeah,
been doing.
no one's gonna do anything about it.
Right? Yeah, pretty much so. And that's something.
Personally, I think if TSM wanted Lustboy to be in a lane to soak up CS, why wouldn't you just send him bot with Dyrus?
Right? Yeah. No. Just that way he has some protection, and that way then Turtle can get early level 6 with Corki, so then he can like get this level advantage over Callista, get some poke onto her, and stop her from all-inning him.
And even if they don't do that, he can poke down Mundo really efficiently.
Yeah. So anyway, so Santorin stays to the strong side of the map, which makes sense because, you know, if you go down in the bottom lane, then you're running into EDG's bottom lane, so he's not able to help out Dyrus there at all. So EDG knows this. They scout vision in with Mako, and they pretty much figure where Santorin is. Is Santorin on a ward right now?
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. But it's safe to assume that he's going to be top side.
It's safe to assume that if he hasn't come down to his red side jungle,
Right, yeah.
he's probably in yours.
Yeah, like they're in the jungle, so they're going with this fence scaring approach of, you know, just being a ward in the jungle using your face.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's just how it is, so.
Okay. So, like, I like Dyrus buying the green ward when he goes back
Right,
with
and then
with
he
the
doesn't place
wolf
it.
gold, but he doesn't place it, and he has trinket up.
Yeah, he doesn't ward this at all. Like, he just stays
he
in
had
a tower.
so many opportunities, but he's been like, I really think that his thought process is, I just need to get gold. And that's
Yeah.
not how you should play a lane swap most efficiently.
Yeah, no,
Especially if you know what other teams are going to do.
Right, yeah. It's like, he could have gotten a ward down to see that coming and then just leave. Like, in a lane swap situation, as a top laner, you're not really going to be getting gold, because if you try to overextend for farm, which Dyrus does, actually, if I recall correctly.
He does it almost every time.
Yeah, he's still focused on getting the gold. In the lane swap, you're more focused on getting the XP and trying to pick up as whatever minions that you can with, like, the range spells you can. Walking up to the lane in order to get a CS is just, no, you don't do that. So, like, you look at Koro here, you know, he's able to push like this and take some harass because Bard doesn't give a whole lot of kill pressure just yet. And look how far back he's playing in this case, and we'll look at how Dyrus is. He's not walking to melee range for that. You know, he goes for a trade on the Lust Boy, and then, you know, Lust Boy can't really do much to disengage from him once his Q's down. He'll have a health pack to sustain up a bit, though. But,
It'll
like,
give him the speed boost to get away, too.
yeah, so, like, Koro's letting himself be zoned. He's playing this lane swap out properly. You know, he's taking some harass, but he's using his range tools to farm. Goes again.
Koro also has the extra advantage of having smite.
Right.
So he can just go take the Krugs whenever he wants. And that I think that's part of what put Dyrus in this mindset of, like, I need to get gold.
Right.
Because Kuro will just naturally win because he has smite.
Right,
Just another reason why smite top laners are so good right now.
Yeah, no, it is. Although I think we might not see that anymore for two reasons. Oh yeah, here's Dyrus overextending really hard, getting rended.
And again, he still hasn't that green ward.
Yeah, he hasn't
Still has
warded
not
yet.
placed that ward.
And then so he overextends here, and then Clear Love cuts him off, and then just as the mini wave's crashing in, and he has no flash, so Dyrus is basically dead because he didn't go out and ward. He has one ward in try. He has one ward in try.
That's not even an efficient ward.
Yeah, it's not.
Because every time he gets ganked, it's from that bush behind blue. Next in front of Krugs, I guess.
Right. Because
that's been every single game.
yeah, well, there's that, but also there's just the general theory of this bottom side jungle is not your jungle. This is the enemy's jungle, so they're not going to be skirting as close to their side of the map. They'll go in as deep into that side of the jungle as they will, so that's why you want to ward deeper back into it. Which, if you actually look at EDG's vision control so far, they have great vision around that area already. They have two wards surrounding the red pit. They have a pink ward in there as well, so just in case if Dyrus went to go ward that particular brush, which would be a great spot to do it, they have that vision to be able to go clear it out. Meanwhile, TSM leads no red vision in EDG's red side jungle. Ah, man, the vision in this game from
it hurts. It hurts me so bad.
Yeah, this is just rough. This VOD analysis won't last long, people. We're just looking at the early game and seeing how TSM won it. And then here we go. Dyrus overextends. No flash.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I just don't understand what his thought process is. And that green ward is still in his inventory. It's been there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, plus, you can hear Dragon. Like, you can hear Dragon die. Like, if I heard that sound in-game, I'd be like, alright, I'm out. Peace. They're at Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just... Dyrus is overextending constantly, so Dyrus deserves some of the blame here because he's not warding for himself properly. Santorin is trying to play to the strongest side of his map. Now, to Santorin's discredit, I'll say, he isn't making any plays. He's not leaving any vision like Clear Love is for EDG to get vision from TSM to play off of that. He's not getting successful ganks off for his team either. You know, I don't think he showed his face like one time topside, and that was for like a Bard Magical Journey play on the Mundo. It's like Cyan with a flash was killed 3 times, whereas this Mundo with no flash has been killed 0 times. Now, to be fair, 2 of Cyan's deaths have been when he doesn't have flash, and that's been Dyrus overextending. But, like, that's the discrepancy in between the pressure that the junglers are coming out with.
Yeah.
Which, arguably it's Rek'Sai versus Sejuani. Rek'Sai's going to get those early ganks. She's going to have that early pressure. Sejuani, not so much.
Yeah, which is why Gragas probably should.
Yeah, I think Santorin's played an okay Gragas. Not of this tournament, but in the past he has.
Yeah, I just, so many things baffle me.
Yeah.
So Dyrus dying all those times, like, you can't even blame Wild Turtle for what happens now.
Yeah.
Because the 201 Callista, even though Turtle has, like, that slight CS lead, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, Callista's incredible.
The Callista's not even building well, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was gonna say, like, wow, Runan's first, that's just massive disrespect, yo.
Yeah, I don't like Wild Turtle. I think his decision making is crap. I don't feel like I can even criticize him for this game at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did it wrong.
This is such like a horrible situation for him to be put in.
I would
because
throw
TSM just doesn't gank Dyrus ever.
Yeah, they leave him alone.
Or do anything to assist him.
Yeah, I think Lustboy need to rotate bot because like you don't have any kill pressure on Mundo with the Bard Corki. You're accomplishing nothing by sitting in lane, so if I was TSM, I would have sent Lustboy bot so that way Dyrus can at least try and get some farm in that 2v2, and so then you're setting Coral behind on Mundo, and then you're getting Dyrus the ability to get some XP, get some farm, not feed as much. Turtle's going to be fine, and then Santorin can maybe enter his bottom side of the jungle, and you could retake some of that control in the map. Instead, TSM just passively keeps their heads in lane, doesn't use a roaming support to ward, and... Ward and roam, I should say.
Support to do anything.
Yeah, no, it's just TSM is kind of just like defaulting to doing nothing.
Yeah, that's been their problem this whole tournament, is that if they have a plan in the beginning, if anything goes wrong, they just don't do anything. They haven't been adapting. And I think that's the biggest issue.
And then Pawn getting a really good ulti engage.
Really
Bjergsen actually does really well to escape this, but at the same time, it's like it's Urgot.
Yeah.
And then he gets killed like in 20 seconds. Meanwhile, like, okay, so... And then here's TSM trying to make a gank, but Bard isn't 6 yet, so he's got no way to really lock down this line. And then Deft and Maiko just re-engage. And here's the magical journey problem with disengage. Like, Lustboy only lives because of his exhaust, which is really good exhaust, and then he forces to burn flash.
Yeah.
Like, if Deft couldn't follow Bard's magical journey, Bard's disengage potential would be really high. And then Bjergsen dies 30, 40 seconds after he escaped that gank anyway, so his efforts were in vain. And then, yeah, this is where the game really kind of just becomes a shit show.
I have no idea why Bjergsen did not back after that gank.
Yeah. I think...
Even if he thought Flask would get him sustained enough,
yeah,
I don't think there's a situation where Rek'Sai does not just come immediately back.
Yeah. So now TSM's just focused on trying to get these ganks down, but like they're just turning out to feed Deft because they have no ultimates. They've missed all the CC that they try to do. Dyrus gets some inkling of revenge, but ultimately it doesn't really matter.
Well, he knows that he can do damage if he's dead on this champion,
yeah.
so he's just trying to do what he's been good at.
He's like, alright, I'm already playing zombie mode, let's just go. Hey guys, I'm getting farm. So, I think Bjergsen went back into the mid lane because he's just trying too hard to, like, get the farm. Like, in that situation, you know, if, like, okay, I escaped that gank, I have no summoners, I'm pretty low on health, I should back, get an item. But I think Bjergsen's like, okay, shit, we need to make something happen. I can stay in this lane, I can make this play. They don't have their ultimates, they don't have this. I think Clearlove still had flash, and I think that's how he got onto Bjergsen.
Yeah, based on the timer, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd go back and look, but I don't want to jeopardize the synchronization that we got here.
It's okay.
So
this game is already way over.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, so there's not really much point talking about it.
Before the trolley ending.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, EDG just, like, taking as long as they want, just killing TSM over and over again.
Well, hey, man, we could see TSM play 2 more games today.
There you go. I personally don't have much of interest watching the rest of the group stages of MSI. I'm looking forward to play it.
The hype 3-way tie.
The hype 3-way tie. My God.
Yeah, we can see some more Besiktas games, too.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I've paused it. I don't know if it's paused for you. Is it?
I'll pause it.
Okay, yeah, so it doesn't pause. Maybe it's because it's like a stream thing, and so it has an issue doing that. Maybe that's it. It worked really well for Alex and I.
Alright.
So, either way, points to take away from this game and why we looked at it. People can look at Santorin and give him a lot of blame, and admittedly, he was incredibly passive in this tournament, which is a problem that TSM had. But the biggest thing that TSM has had is working as a cohesive unit. They've constantly let Dyrus out to just let him hang out to dry in situations where they totally could have helped him. Lustboy in this game could have went bot lane to give him some assistance farming, as well as establish vision. Dyrus himself overextended constantly trying to get CS, which he should have just let himself be zoned from, without properly warding his flank to ensure that he could escape, especially without his flash. Bjergsen making some questionable decisions. Well, he would lane well, but then like just the fact that his team is getting bodied everybody else pretty much limits his ability to carry, especially on a champion like Urgot. Ultimately, TSM working as a unit is what really brought them down in this MSI, which I think personally, I think it's just from like this expectation on them. I think that they're like second this that like if you listen to like the Bjergsen interview, he's kind of like he talking about like feeling really small, really diminutive against these teams, like wow, there's a lot of competition here, we got to do really well. Whereas with Katowice, which they wound up winning the whole thing, mainly because World Elite fucking just randomly beat GE Tigers, there was no expectation on them to do well. And it just came in and like, all right, we're here to play this game. We're going to do really well in that. And the two levels of play in both of these series is really, really stark. So ultimately, I think TSM needs to learn how to adapt better in-game so that they aren't really reliant on best of series in order to adapt over the course of games, as well as try and give more support to Dyrus. And there's a lot of talk right now in the Twitterverse that, this could be, TSM might be looking at, okay, I frame it like this. I don't know if anyone else does. I think TSM is slowly approaching a situation with Dyrus similar to what Cloud9 had with High, which is, okay, with this lineup, with this player in this spot, we can always win domestically. He's always going to be good. But when it comes to international competition, we're never going to be an elite level team. So, I don't know.
I look at it slightly differently.
Okay.
I don't think Dyrus as a player is necessarily 100% of the like problem with Dyrus on TSM.
Yeah.
I think if TSM wants to continue to play this style, absolutely Dyrus cannot continue if they want any chance of winning anything other than NA. Mm-hmm. But I also look at it as like, if I were Dyrus, why would I stay?
Yeah. Okay.
What do I get out of that?
Right, yeah, it's just like, all right, I can win NA, but then I go to international competition and I just get bodied everywhere. My team leaves.
I get bodied, and then I take all of the blame.
Kinda, yeah.
For it.
Well, actually, a lot of people on Twitter seem to be really sympathetic to Dyrus.
A lot of people do, but I also see a lot of hate for him other times. This specific situation.
All right, that's fair.
Not so much, but
yeah, no, that's fair. So yeah, I could see Dyrus retiring. Perhaps just like if he doesn't bounce back from this, if this is enough to make him go, wow, there's not much in this for me. I could see Reginald saying, okay, we need to talk about the team structure because we played that really badly. What happened there? What went wrong? What do we need to change? And if that comes to the conclusion of them making roster swaps, we pretty much know that TSM is an organization which would pursue roster swaps and not fight them as long as Cloud9 has.
Yeah.
So it could go either way. It could be an organization push thing. It could be a Dyrus push thing. I think either is plausible. Whether or not we'll see it will be the next big question. So, all right. I think that wraps up like this VOD review. I don't think we need to see America's hopes and dreams get destroyed like Japan did to non-king in China, which actually I think he did a little China jokes, I guess, or something. So, it's like now it's China doing the botting, except it's on America. So, anyways, thanks for watching this analysis, guys. Hopefully we had like some really good discussion. I think there's some great points brought up. Thank you, TK, for giving me some other insight to work with. I think you had a lot of very good points to have, and it's been fun doing this. So, thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. Anytime.
All right. Okay. Well, guys, peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day.